As an academic scholar, I'm interested in scientific research. So when I met Harish, he told me about his program, and I'm a strategist. I'm a strategy expert. So I found the ideas intriguing. But as a scientist, the last thing I want to do is listen to him, right? He's going to tell me some story. So fortunately, what he did was connect me with his clients. And he just called them up and said, I'd like you to talk to this person. And I went in client after client after client using a grounded theory approach and said, tell me about it. What is this thing that Harish does? He didn't explain. Tell me, what is it to you? And it was fascinating hearing the stories from the clients. And I would turn it over, because this is what we're going to present on Saturday, but I would ask you, what do you think I heard from family business? After you know what the process is, can anybody guess what some of the main themes are? And Harish hasn't heard any of this yet. Any ideas?
You got us on the same page, rowing in the same direction, things like that?
That's the number one thing, and then we drilled down a little deeper in there, and the second part of that is we didn't even know ourselves. We didn't know. We've been doing this for 30 years. But we didn't know. And they would say things. The fun part was that Harish was never involved, and so they would say things like, he made us crazy. We wanted to kick him out. We wanted to get rid of him. And he kept saying, sticking to it and sticking to it. And then finally was the aha. The aha finally came. And sometimes that crossed generations. Sometimes it was the old man that wasn't listening. Sometimes it was I get my kids, because the idea is, how do we take something and pass it on to the next generation? Well, at the DNA level, you don't change DNA. That stays on, and that's what we're calling legacy in our field, right? And so we could define the legacy so that the kids could carry that. So 4 generations, when I come back from my grave, I'll be able to see the legacy of the company. So those are some of the things that came out, and I was listening to Harish's presentation today, and it's interesting. This is the first time I've heard his presentation versus hearing what his clients had to say about it.
Based on what you know and now hearing his presentation, do you think that his approach, process, and techniques are transferable to another individual that doesn't have his strength of personality to deal with rejection?
That's a very good question. Harish has taken a process that works, and I'm convinced now that works. I mean, these were not particularly exceptional individuals I was talking to. They were the people that we deal with all the time as family business advisors. And they brought an outsider in and kept asking them the same question, what do you do and how do you do it, and all those things. And they referred to it, I forget what they referred to, the screen form, and kept asking the questions. And finally, when they got it, even the skeptical ones came around when they started to see people in the organization get it on a daily basis.
Here's an example to show how we're actually only in there for one time with the client. So this is a Belleville Road error. When we built that philosophy statement, building reliability, 6 months after we left the project, they came up with this thing, all on their own. So we built the drivers for what building reliability means, but they basically decided to build an employee handbook. So they have 200 employees in 22 offices in 10 countries, and in the last 9 years, they grew 550%. They had all kinds of systemic issues, but that's not because they were doing bad things. They were doing so good things that they lost a lot of their, old feel, touch and feel that made them successful in the first place, because the company is just growing into this massive organism. So this is building reliability. Every employee that signs up on their first day of work gets this handbook. This is how they start building human assets or human capital assets. And they're capitalizing on their intellectual property and start introducing and institutionalizing their DNA or unifying philosophies. So you open it up as a first timer and you see a DVD on what building reliability is all about. A whole story about why we believe in this. What does it mean to us as a company? You have the title Building Reliability. Okay, it's not their company anymore. Okay, it's incredible what they did. Now they did this. So you talk about sustainability. They talk about, okay, well, for us, the 5 bridges to building reliability are awareness, imagination, communication, accuracy, and enjoyment. These are their personal value drivers. So then, you go on to, as a staff member, you're like, oh, well, building reliability, awareness is knowing our customers' business and products, knowing our customers' needs, knowing our customers' importance to Belleville-Wardere, knowing your shipments, and knowing Belleville-Wardere. Now, what they do every year for 1 month at a time, they only talk about awareness. What is awareness to you as a shipper? What's awareness to you as the janitor of the warehouse? So they talk about awareness. The next month, they talk about imagination. Now this is important to them. It's dear to their hearts. They talk about visualizing, empathizing, anticipating, leading, being proactive. Okay, this is how they started to break it down. Now they deliberately, I asked them why they left it so, open-ended. They said, well, you know what? Enjoyment means one thing to our accountant, and it means a whole other thing to our salespeople. So we left it open for a deliberate reason. So how they live enjoyment, and how they live, accuracy and communication is very different. Accuracy to the guy who's packing the boxes is very different to the guy who's creating all the invoicing. So this is sort of, the accuracy is all about measurables. So they have a whole month of just tightening up their measurables. So this year will mark their 2nd year of launching this sort of iterative process of creating continuous improvement. So this is just an example of how this company is institutionalizing their unified philosophy. I'm just absolutely amazed at what they've done.